Oh boy, look at this here. This is the 50mm 1.4 art lens, and this is one of the best pound for pound, bang for buck lenses that you can find in this category. Sigma sent it to me before they released it to the public because I am very cool. Let's talk about this banger lens. That's what the kids say, right? Banger? I am cool. So this lens is available for the Sony E-mount and the L-mount as well. Big thanks to Sigma Canada for sending this over for review. It's just a loaner. I have to send it back, and of course they get no input on the video, and I probably won't even watch the video, but I do appreciate them including me in the pre-embargo people. It makes me feel special, but I really love this lens, and it's too bad I have to send it back because I have had a ton of fun with it. Now, 50mm, it kind of emulates what the human eye sees, so this lens is very good to me for things like weddings, street photography, casual photography, family, travel, and a lot of people do like to use it for video, and we will get into that a little bit later. But for me, I took it downtown. I went out with my wife and did some photos, and I actually was, doing a review of a backpack. So, subscribe if you like backpack reviews. That is definitely upcoming, and it wasn't, the nicest part of town, but I was just, here's the thing. This lens focuses so fast and so accurately. I was able to have some quick snapshots while I looked over my shoulder for people who might want to stab me in the side, because, you never know about those things. So I was just spraying and praying for many reasons, and almost all of the photos came out tack sharp. It just grabbed onto the eye or to whatever I had decided to focus on. I will get into the focusing stuff and how excellent it is, but let's just talk about the body of the lens first. It's got an aperture ring. Who doesn't love an aperture ring on a lens? Plus, this one can be clicked or declicked, which is my favorite. I like using the click a lot, but for video, you're going to want that smooth aperture ring. You can have your cake and eat it too. With this guy, there's an autofocus to manual focus switch, there is an AFL button, and there's actually another switch that can lock your aperture ring so that you won't bump it by accident and mess up your aperture. Love all of that included, and the focus ring is very well dampened. It is very nice, and on compatible cameras you can turn it into a linear focusing ring. On the Sony you can't. It is non-linear, so you're just doing the focus by wire, so you can't really repeat focus pulls, but on some of the Panasonic L-mount cameras, you will be able to switch it. There is some weather sealing. It is moisture and dust resistant, not as weatherproof as something like one of their sports lenses, but you can definitely take this out in some weather. It's got that amazing focusing system that they have now developed, the HLA, the high performance linear actuator system, where it floats almost like on invisible rails back and forth. It's very fast and silent and absolutely fantastic. They had it in the 60 to 600 that they've recently come out with, and it flies, the focusing. So from close to way out there, it is just super snappy, super fast, and that is what helped me get all of those shots and run away from the criminals. Has a filter thread size of 72mm, so it won't be difficult at all to get the right filters for your lens. It has a minimum focusing distance of 45 centimeters, which is about par for the course for a 50 1.4. It is 660 grams and comes in at $849. Now those two things, they might sound like this lens is a bit big and a bit expensive, but when you compare it to the competitors, the other 50mm f1.4 from the big boys, this thing is actually quite a bargain. At $850, it is cheaper than the other 50mm f1.4s, and it's also smaller and lighter. So the Zeiss, I think, is $14.99, the one from Sony, that is the 51.4, and that one is also 770 grams. So this is, $850 at 660. Now, Sigma also has a 50mm 1.4, an older one, an HSM, where it has kind of the adapter just stuck into the body there for the Sony E-mount system. And that one is 880 grams. So this thing is actually, if you look at it, while not a tiny lens, it is certainly doable, and it goes pretty well on my Sony a7 IV or my a7 III. The quality is right up there with the best of the best. After all, this is a Sigma art lens. Now, I mentioned how fast and accurate the autofocus is with this guy, but you also have fantastic sharpness, corner to corner. So right to the edge of your frame, you are going to see great sharpness with this lens. You're looking for a sharp 50 1.4, look no further than the Sigma 1.4. Flaring and ghosting are extremely well controlled. Here is one of the worst pictures I have ever taken of myself. You know, it's still me, right? So I still look pretty good. But basically what it was is the sun was just blasting behind me, and I put it right into the lens. I couldn't even see myself in the LCD screen of my a7 IV, and I just took the picture to see what would happen, and then you can actually see me. It has good contrast. I was shocked at how good the lens was at controlling the flare and the ghosting in that horrifically backlit situation. When it comes to the autofocus background, it is very nice. From what goes from focus to out of focus, it's a nice smooth transition. Things don't look too busy. It's wonderful bokeh back there. If you look at the bokeh balls there, if you get some fairy lights up, you will see nice round orbs that aren't too busy or messy in the center, and you get some cat's eyeing towards the edges, and that cat's eye starts to go away as you stop the lens down. Now, it also does really well with lateral chromatic aberration. You're not going to see much of that at all in your photos. But now let's talk about a couple of things the lens does not do well, and the first one is the other form of chromatic aberration, the longitudinal chromatic aberration, the Bokeh. So in the out of focus areas, you can see some green and some red tints. And in this lens, it is definitely present if you are pixel peeping. You will see that in some high contrast scenes. You will see the red and the green fringing, and that is the Bokeh. That is very difficult to remove in post, unlike lateral chromatic aberration, so that is something to be aware of. However, that is par for the course with the other 50mm f1.4s that I have seen. Pretty much all of them have a similar amount of Bokeh, so this guy is no different. And the other problem is focus breathing. If you want to use this lens for video and you're going to do some focus pulling, you are going to see some major focus breathing, and that could be a real issue for some people. I wouldn't use a 50 much for video, so for me, it wouldn't make that much of a difference. Now, if you are stacking photos to blend them in, say, Photoshop, then you also, it is a bit of a pain in the butt, but you can overcome that. However, you would have to, because there is a fair amount of focus breathing on this guy. That is it for the negatives. So here you have just wonderful colors coming out of this thing. It has some weather sealing. It is super sharp. Its autofocus is almost instant. It's extremely well built with lots of buttons and features on the guy. Basically, if you want a slightly better optical performer, you would have to step up to the 50mm f1.2 G Master lens, which costs $2,000 if you want to, have a better Bokeh performance. Or if you have an L-mount system, then you will go with the 50 1.2 S Pro lens, which is $2,300. And this guy is $850. So to get all that performance, for $850, that's what I'm saying at the beginning. Bang for your buck. Woo, this guy. Really, really nice lens. Good job, Sigma, and good job sending it over to me. I appreciate that. And hey, you guys, leave some comments down below, fool that algorithm. Tell me whether or not you like a 50mm focal length. Do you use it? And if so, what one do you have? There you go. That's something you can write in the comments below, or you can just tell me how nice I look today. I would appreciate that too. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll talk to you again soon. Okay, bye-bye.